things are getting very heated in the crypto space. Now, in this video, I'm going to be going over all the most important events that are going to be coming out over the next couple of weeks that as a crypto holder, you should watch out for. And to start it off, the most important thing that just happened by far is the inflation numbers over in the EU. Combined with the fact that the Fed over in the US has really not been too positive, the crypto space is, not doing so good right now. Bitcoin's sitting at roughly $20,000. The entire crypto market is down 0.7% today. Ethereum is actually also not doing too good, even though it's positive over the last 24 hours. And XRP sitting at 33 cents, up 0.23%. One of the only coins that's doing pretty juicy is actually Matic right here at about 88 cents, up 4.5% today. Quick overview. Now, the Eurozone inflation hit a record number of 9.1% as food and energy prices soar. You guys have all noticed it. The inflation numbers from August were just announced over for Europe. These are very important, and it's actually above expectation as the expectation was 9%. And obviously, that did not really affect the markets nicely. Usually, higher than expected inflation is not a good thing. Well, inflation at 9% is not a good thing, but even higher than the expectation, that's literally very bad, even though everything is very bad. You understand it though. It's mixed, as I said a little bit earlier, with the Fed. And now a couple hours ago over on Fortune, this was shared. Fed is giving up on soft landing in favor of a growth recession. Buckle up. What is a growth recession? It's actually interesting. So whenever we have a recession, it's basically our production slowing down and things just getting quote unquote worse. Honestly, in my whole life studying economics or being busy with economics, I've never seen this growth recession ever turning out to be a good thing, nor is it something that I think is often used. But the whole idea, the whole premise is that you basically don't go into a full-fledged recession where it would basically be like, okay, you increase the interest rate by such a crazy percentage that all the prices start to drop, even though it takes a little bit of time. Wages start to drop. Things just adjust again to the old standard. A lot of people get sacked from their job, which is of course not that nice, but it's the whole spiral. Right now people are getting, they want more people, but nobody's trying to get on because they think they deserve too much or there's just too much production and they just can't keep up with all the workers. Eventually though, the production is going to slow back down, even though that's stalled basically. Yet, as I said before, the cost of capital is going to go up if the interest rate increases. And so a lot of these project builders are going to delay building that. And theoretically speaking, consumers also delay their consumption as putting the money on the bank right now is becoming a little bit more lucrative or nice. Again, that's the theory behind it. This slowdown would basically mean that you're not going to increase the interest rate by, for example, 1.2%. Not 1.5% every single time to really drastically halt this. No, you're going to, for example, increase the interest rate by 0.5, 0.75 for the next, let's say, year and a half. So instead of just making sure you get out of this recession as quickly as possible, you're going to go very, very slowly, officially not into a recession, even though you are, and then kind of get yourself out of there after a very long amount of time. So they're basically just stalling things out to make sure the US stays a leader and everything. And I think that's also what Fortune is going to describe in their piece. Throughout 2022, the Federal Reserve has raised interest rate 4 times in an attempt to cool US economy and reduce inflation. The goal has been to do this without sparking a recession, thereby creating a so-called soft landing for the economy and American consumers. Now though, economists say the Fed is targeting something that could be much more painful for average Americans, a growth recession. So let's take a look at the soft landing. Throughout 2022, the Fed has raised interest rate 4 times, trying to cool down the economy and reduce inflation. On Friday, the Fed said they will likely experience some more pain as the central bank continues to battle with inflation. That might mean the Fed has given up on its hopes for a soft landing. So what is a growth recession? It's a slowdown milder than a true recession. Basically, the Fed needs to slow the U.S. economic growth to well below its potential to bring inflation back to its target of 2%. It's a bit like drip and water torture, said Dion Swank, the chief economist at KPMG. It is a torturous process, but less torturous and less painful than an abrupt recession. Even that might not be enough amid the European energy crisis and ongoing heat waves. The Fed may need to get a step further, according to Commercia Bank's chief economist. How could a growth recession impact Americans? Well, some pain for households and businesses, as Powell mentioned in his speech, is probably something a bit worse than a period of growth that's below the U.S. economy's trend that the Fed was aiming for at first. And in theory, this is not a really bad thing, So to produce below capacity is basically in the sense that you can actually produce more, but you're choosing not to. And in theory, that's just that every single factor is there, but there are a couple of restrictions in place deliberately to not produce as much as possible, right? Which is restrictive on your economy, which is, to deteriorate things, which is traditionally not what you want. Every economy wants to maximize production and maximize basically everything in that nature. Right now, you're doing it below maximum, which is theoretically, just bad. You understand. How can the Fed land a growth recession? Central bank needs to slow demand, but not necessarily squash it. And to control demand, the Fed uses interest rate, in this case, raising it. Whether the U.S. economy falls into a true recession, a growth recession, or avoids a recession altogether may still be up for debate. But there are clear signs that the U.S. economy is still, or strength is still fading, or is fading. Yeah, obviously, the U.S. economy's strength is fading. They can't really do too much about it. There's no other way around it. Then again, over in Europe and all these other places, things are not really much better. If you're taking a look at the situation over in China, none of us can state that that situation is doing very good right now. So I'd say that everybody's in a little bit of a stupid situation, a little shitty situation. It is what it is. Then again, for Bitcoin, things are still doing quite good. We've talked about it on multiple different occasions, but let me just quickly remind you guys. Exchange reserves are still going down. People are still taking their money, their Bitcoin specifically, off of exchanges. And most of the data that we keep showcasing here are positive. For example, the RSI is looking pretty positive in a sense that it's oversold right now. We can actually see that fear is relatively high today, though, as it's actually 20, which is a record low number. I've not seen that in a couple of months at least. I think June somewhere. Let's see here. Yeah, so over in, actually July as well, we saw it. So about a month and a half ago, we saw levels below 20 as well. Right now, though, we had a pretty good little bull trap, I guess, or a little rally going on. And right now, it's been deteriorated partially as the fear is surely bringing itself back up. In terms of price, indeed, Bitcoin is also hovering at 20,000. It's literally up and down and up and down. This is a 1 minute chart right here. We've been facing that resistance for a little while right now, even though we're $73 above 20K. Obviously, with Bitcoin, $73 is not that much. That's not something to really watch out for or be excited about or get excited about at all. Then again, to come back to the point, what are we waiting for now? So, there's a couple of different things, and this is very important for you guys to understand. We have inflation, interest rate, merge. I don't know if there's anything else that's really important, but I'm thinking those three are the most important, so let's showcase. We have, for our most important thing, because it's coming up next, next inflation update is scheduled for release September 13th, 8:30 a.m. ET. Write this down. Every single time that this happens, markets get volatile. If you write this down, you know when it's about to happen, and I'll most likely try to stream it, but I'm not sure if I'm going to be in Paris over for the Binance Blockchain Week. We'll see, though. I'm going to talk about that later. By the way, before we move on, make sure that you check out my giveaway. A link is going to be down below, and it's $10,000 that's on the line. I'm going to give it away in 6 days. So yeah, as I was saying, every single time that these numbers come out, things get volatile, so you should be prepared for that. I'm going to try stream it, yada, yada, yada. Then, I'm not sure exactly what the date. So this one is the 13th. Then obviously we have the merge for Ethereum coming up, which is most likely going to have a interesting effect over on Ethereum. I'm honestly not so sure what type of effect it's going to have. As I said it before, we have a lot of buy the rumor, sell the news, but it's hard to say up front because of all this anticipation on the stock market. Everybody's watching the stock market right now. Let me quickly showcase to you guys what I mean. Everybody's watching the stock market right now, and things are doing pretty interesting on that regard. It's hard to say where Ethereum will land, obviously, just before the merge, as we had a little rally for the stock market going. Now things are deteriorating for that as well, and Bitcoin is following along. Ethereum is going to follow along with that as well. It might have a little surge on the side, but at the end of the day, this merge can go wrong. It can go right. There's a couple of interesting pieces about it, that it's not a traditional buy the rumor, sell the news type of endeavor. People are waiting potentially to buy Ethereum for after the merge, and so it's still a buy opportunity. Then again, on another end, I'm thinking the whole upgrade is not necessarily something that makes Ethereum better, a lot of people might say. So it's another situation of maybe it's not the best buying opportunity right now. It's a strange one. Then again, it's another piece of volatility over on the 15th, 16th of September, depending on what part of the world you're in, I'm assuming. I'm not sure exactly what hour of the day it is on the 15th. Moving on, there's been some speculation already that weak economic data, or just any of these things that I've just shown you already, if any of these things turn out to be weak, that the market is going to react heavily towards it. Again, I'm guessing that the stock market is acting so negatively partially because of everything that we've been seeing over in the announcements from the Fed, now from Europe. Things are not really that good. And then later on, up and coming in 19 days, we have the FOMC, where again, interest rate is going to be shared again. And that's also somewhere at the end of the month, I believe. Here it says September 21st. You'd kind of think it's September 20th based on what day it is right now. It's the 1st, but whatever. It's September 21st. Also, watch out for that. You understand, right? These three things are by far the most important. Again, to summarize, we have the inflation over in the US September 13th. We then have the Ethereum merge, most likely around September 15th, maybe 16th, depending on where you are. You can look up the exact time for yourself by, I think it's called ETH Countdown or something like that, or when merge, something like that is a website that is pretty accurate. And then we have the interest rate numbers over in the US as well, right around the 21st of September. All right. So, yeah, right now there's also speculation about what the rate will be. You can all check it out for yourself if you want to. But yeah, I don't think you need to know anything else except for the fact maybe that, again, as I said before, most of our indications are showcasing, hey, we're seeing some oversold territory. Things are going down drastically. So maybe it shouldn't be this way. I've always said before, buying below the 200 moving average and buying at these levels is still a juicy endeavor. I think is very much worth it. Then again, if the stock market keeps going down, there's a good chance that Bitcoin is going to follow, even though from a fundamental perspective, and we're seeing it in companies like BlackRock, people are already starting to buy Bitcoin for that true use case. It's just not enough quite yet for where it can, go off of its trajectory and go towards the other side. Then again, guys, I should also mention this. Right now, if you don't have a Bybit account yet, you can actually get a $1,000 free airdrop or a $1,000 free position. All you have to do is go to my Twitter and check for the link, or just use the link down below and go search for it for this ETH USDT perpetual. I think how it works is if you deposit $1,000, you get a $100 trade, which with 10 times leverage, is $1,000 that you can then do for absolutely free. And I'm not really sure if there's any catch or so. I've read it, but I don't really see anything negative about it. It just says you can claim one of these positions for absolutely free. People were very excited about it. The Bybit guys were very excited about it. So I'm thinking it's just as simple as it seems. So there's only 6% left. So make sure you go ahead and check it out if you're interested in a $1,000 free position. And as I've said before, if the exchange turns out to not be your thing, you can leave again. But I always suggest taking these bonuses, as usually it's free money. So yeah, but that was it for today's video. Also, again, guys, check out the link down below for our giveaway. And I'll see you guys again in another crypto video soon. Adios, amigos.